It is almost time for the 2023 NHL Draft. Today we're taking a look at all the latest rumors and buzz about what we might see at the draft, what picks might be traded, what moves we may see. We'll discuss all the draft rumors that we know as of right now coming up next. So welcome back to another video here, Top Shelf Hockey. As I mentioned, we're taking a look at all the NHL draft rumors and things we might see happening at the NHL Draft, which is extremely close to being here. We're almost time. Obviously, we're less than 24 hours away as I record this. I just want to caution you that I am recording this video on Tuesday night. The draft goes Wednesday night. This is going to hit YouTube sometime between Tuesday evening and early Wednesday. So I might mention a deal, and maybe the deal's already been done. We've had a very busy trade session here, so I just want to caution you here that some of the info might become outdated very, very quickly, so it's not my fault. Obviously, things happen here very fast in the NHL this time of year, but here's what we know as of right now. If you take a look at the top two picks in the draft, ultimately, I don't think there's really any chance that anything's going to be traded there. We know the Blackhawks are going Bedard. We don't know 100% who the Ducks are taking. It could be Leo Carlsson. It could be even Matt Michkov, or it could be Adam Fantilli. There was a rumor a while back about the Ducks being the type of team who might be bold to take Michkov, but I think most people feel it's more than likely going to be Carlsson or Fantilli. Now, at number 3, the Columbus Blue Jackets, I think it's probably fair to say, if he is available, are not taking Michkov. GM Jarmo Kekalainen did indicate that he did not have an interview with Michkov. Of course, he's been in Nashville for the draft, booked a bunch of meetings with different teams. Reportedly, the Jackets were not one of them. And he did say that they were going to be drafting what they felt was a franchise number 1 center. So that doesn't really describe Michkov. So ultimately, I think that they're very high on a couple of players in Columbus. I know they obviously were high on Fantilli. I think if the Ducks go with Carlsson, I think there's a real possibility that Fantilli could end up in Columbus. But there's also been some reports that the Jackets really, really like Will Smith. And they like him enough that even if Fantilli or Carlsson are still available there, which they would be, that they still might take Smith over one of those guys. So don't be absolutely shocked if we see the Jackets kind of pull that type of move here. Now, of course, the number 4 pick belongs to the Sharks. I had speculated before that I wondered if a team like the Capitals or the Flyers are going to push to move up and try, because they've been the team's most aggressive for Michkov, right? Especially Washington. So at the end of the day, said the San Jose pick is the one that might be, if there's any chance of them moving, would be the one. Now, of course, the number 4 pick, if the Sharks keep that selection, maybe Michkov is not the player that's taken there, right? Maybe, perhaps if the Jackets go with Smith, then that's going to leave either Fantilli or Carlsson available, and the Sharks might be more than happy to draft one of those guys and keep the number 4 pick. It's rare you see top 5 picks moved. So to me, the Jackets pick, if they really do go with Smith, which is heavily rumored, it's going to throw a lot of people's draft boards off a little bit, and it could cause the Sharks to stay put. But depending on who they really zoned in on, they might be content to move back. If the Sharks do move back to a team like the Capitals, who really want to get Michkov, that could cause Carlsson or Fantilli to maybe even slide a step further and maybe go to a team like Montreal, number 5. Now, Montreal at number 5, there's been a lot of rumors about them that they obviously really like Will Smith as well, and they're expecting, obviously Bedard, Fantilli, Carlsson to all be off the board here. So there's a lot of talk that, for example, if Will Smith was drafted 3 or 4, that they might be content to move back to get an extra asset here. Maybe they talk to a team like the Capitals at number 8, and maybe they swap places, get some extra assets, and maybe they move back and take Ryan Leonard. Because it sounds like what we're hearing in Montreal is there's some, they do like Michkov to some degree. I don't know whether they like him enough to select him, but Will Smith and Ryan Leonard seem to be the main 2 players that they're zoned in on. If they can't get Smith, but they can move back, get Leonard, and get something else too, they might be open to doing that and allow the Capitals to come in to number 5 if Michkov is still there, and for them to get ahead of the Flyers, who have a heavy interest in Michkov, and grab him. So there's going to be a lot of movement. It's going to really boil down to picks. I don't think we're going to see any of those picks moved ahead of time. It's all going to boil down to how things go. It's because the player that a team wants is there. They're not going to make a trade to mess around with that. So ultimately, those top 5 picks, like I said, there's movement. I think there could be this year around 4 or 5 especially. And I think Michkov is the big wild card here. Right? We don't know where he's going. We know that he had a bunch of interviews. A lot of teams seemed very impressed. And even though his stock was kind of lower than a lot of people thought, and a lot of people were saying he's going to slide after these interviews, and the fact that he had a strong finish to his season, I think his stock is going to start to skyrocket again. And I think he is going to very likely go definitely top 10. There's no way he's sliding past Washington at 8 if they don't move up. And I think it's real possible he goes top 5 or 6 now, almost certainty. So we'll see where that goes. But I think we're going to see some movement within those selections there. I think it's a high probability. Of course, Barry Trotz and David Poile, the Predators, are the host team. I expect them to be busy. They've already made a big splash, getting close to the draft, trading Ryan Johansson. They traded Ekholm at the deadline. This team, along with Taylor Janot as well, in Granlund. So, this team is certainly retooling for sure. I expect them to make some kind of a splash. They're picking at number 15, and there's a lot of rumors that they are looking to make a big move. So what that move is, it's difficult to say. I just know that look for Nashville to be busy. Now, the Leafs are selecting at number 28 right now. There is rumors that they are willing to move this pick for a couple of things. Now, they're either willing to move this pick for a player that they like to can jump on their roster and help out right away, or they're also willing to move back and get extra assets because obviously they're low on draft picks. They've traded away a lot of picks trying to, gear up for the playoffs a lot the last few years. So obviously if they can restock their draft capital a little bit would be wise. So if they can move back and maybe get an extra second round pick as well, then that's something that they're open to doing. The Leafs are interested in adding on the blue line. It sounds like Brad Treliving is going to put a big focus on rebuilding that blue line here. I've heard rumors about Erik Karlsson being interested, that they're very interested in Karlsson. I've also seen other defensemen that they're looking at as well. So I think that it wouldn't be shocking here if they do make some moves on the blue line. Nikita Zadorov is another name in Calgary that I've heard the Leafs are interested in here as well. So I fully suspect Brad Treliving and the Leafs to be a bit busy. They have a lot of expiring contracts. They have a lot of decisions to make, and they're certainly going to be busy. The St. Louis Blues have 3 first-rounders. They have number 10, number 25, and number 29. I think the lower 2, 25 and 29, are certainly up for grabs, up for sale, if you will. Of course, in the blockbuster trade that they were rumored to be close to with the Flyers involving Torrey Krug, Kevin Hayes, etc., at least one of those bottom first-round picks were included in there. Of course, it never ended up happening, so we will see where that goes. But the Blues are looking to be active. They want to shake up their blue line. So if Torrey Krug is not willing to go to Philly, I will not be surprised if they talk to him about moving somewhere else. If they can't get any traction there, then they will look to one of their other defenders to move, because they definitely don't want to come back with the same blue line. And unfortunately, Doug Armstrong's kind of tied his own hands here by giving them all too much trade protection, and it's his own fault. The Sabres are picking at number 13. Expect them. I wouldn't be shocked at all if they trade that pick. Maybe straight up for Noah Hanifin in Calgary, maybe, or something similar. They're looking for a top 4 defenseman, and that pick would be a very good tradable asset to make that happen. I know the Panthers are also in the same boat, looking at some blue line help. Zadorov, Hanifin out of Calgary, a couple of names that they're also kind of keeping an eye on there. So I expect teams like Florida and Buffalo to be competing for some of those same players. Detroit, another team to watch. They're going to be busy trying to get their hands on Senators forward Alex DeBrincat. Pierre Dorian has said he does not expect to get back into the first round. So really, to me, you're not trading DeBrincat unless you're getting a first round pick or a comparable player. And I just don't know that Detroit has anything they're willing to move that really helps Ottawa in that regard. I mean, it was at one point it was speculated that it'd be a first rounder, a second rounder, and a Philip Sedin and Jonathan Bergeron type player. Now, while that comes to be, we'll have to wait and see. The Red Wings do hold the Bruins first rounder next year, so maybe they go down that road. Maybe they trade that pick and something off the roster. I don't know, but I know a lot of insiders still feel DeBrincat is going to Detroit. At this point, it's really difficult to say. It's been one of the few teams that we haven't heard a lot of traction on here in the last day or so. Obviously, today things really heated up with a lot of talks, lots of trades, and lots of stuff happening around the league here. So we'll be curious to see. I certainly expect Chicago to be busy. They already picked up Taylor Hall. Good chance they might pick up a player like a Josh Bailey, for example, out of the Islanders, who are looking to move him and shed some money. I think Bailey's only options are either going to the hometown Preds and his former coach of Barry Trotz with 50% retained, or maybe, like I said, maybe he goes to Chicago as well. The Islanders are likely going to have to attach a draft pick to that, though, to make that happen. The Canucks are another team that's likely going to be talking to the Blackhawks, too. They will likely... it's actually believed that they've already had some conversations. I don't know if they could re-engage or how serious things got, but they were talking about the some of the forwards on the Canucks maybe going to Chicago as a form of a cap dump, just like we saw with Taylor Hall. I would imagine a couple of the names they're looking at, probably a guy like Connor Garland, maybe Brock Besser. It's hard to say, but certainly the Canucks are looking to maybe offer Chicago an incentive to take one of these contracts on. The belief is that if they were going to do something like that, Chicago would say, we want your first round pick. So like the Blackhawks have multiple first rounders. They have a pick that's later. So maybe the Canucks move a contract they don't like, and then the incentive is that they move back and swap places in the draft, allowing the Blackhawks to pick higher. That would be something that would not shock me at all. I mean, the Oilers too are still looking to move Keller Yamamoto. That's still not done. Will Blake Wheeler be traded, bought out? That's another player to watch. All kinds of the things that are happening here, but all kinds of movement. I think that could be very plausible within the first round. It's going to be very busy, very hectic. Lots of stuff is likely going to be going on. Of course, the draft, is Wednesday evening, 8 o'clock Eastern, I believe, is when things get started. So certainly, I hope you have a chance to watch the draft. Certainly follow along here at Top Shelf Hockey. There'll be lots of videos being posted as the trades happen. And of course, there'll be more content coming after the draft, recapping everything that happened as well. So if you will, this can be your source to get all your news around the draft, and of course, all the news, rumors, and trade stuff around all the other NHL teams throughout the entire league here as well. Thanks very much for watching, and I will catch you next time.